Like, my dad doesn't like Alec Baldwin in a lot of things, but he's not going to make an entire career out of complaining about Alec Baldwin in movies on.
Alec Baldwin's not hot, so therefore I'm not going to go see his movies. Hello, welcome to Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirsten.
And today we will be talking about Supergirl, the movie directed by Craig Gillespie and written by Ana Nogueira. I am going to throw over to Tom just for a very quick summary.
So here is the plot summary. It's, with a couple exceptions, it's Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. We've already done an episode on this, and if you want the in-depth version of that story, it's there. But here's the short version with the changes they've made. So you have a girl on an alien planet named Ruthie. In this movie, her parents aren't farmers. They're weapon manufacturers, and they make swords. And some space pirates come down, kill her family for the swords. They kill her whole family, unlike in the source material where it was just her dad. But they kill her whole family. And so she goes and looks for a bounty hunter to get revenge on the guy called Krem. She goes on, and this Krem is already a space pirate, and she finds a girl who is hanging out in a bar because her planet has a red sun. The girl happens to be a Supergirl, and she and Supergirl go. They try to go back to Supergirl's spaceship, and unfortunately Krem and his space pirate buddies steal the ship and steal Kara's spaceship, and they shoot Crypto with a dart, and it poisons him. Turns out that he has the cure to the poison on like a little necklace around his neck, like a video game boss, so it's like a drop you would get if you took him out. But anyways, so they get on a bus, they go into space, they get attacked by space pirates. Kara gets ejected out of the ship's airlock, the space bus's airlock. She floats into the orbit of a yellow sun. It gives her powers back. She saves everybody. Then she and Ruthie are arguing about whether or not they should go do this. She needs to go find Krem, and Ruthie is like, yes, I'm going to go fight them. And she says, no, that's a bad idea. Anyways, they go find a planet, and I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be probably grumpy about many things, but the fact that the planet is called Planet Bilkis made me very happy because that was the artist of the comic book, Bilkis Everly. They go to Bilkis, and they meet a couple. The couple say, hey, we'll help you find Krem. We can do something about this. All we got to do is wait. And they poison Kara, because it turns out that in this adaptation, not in the source material, the brigands are in fact a race of aliens. They are not just guys who are brigands. They are a race of aliens that are all male and need to have sex slaves as their reproduction. And so they're going to try to sell Supergirl to them in exchange for getting their daughter back. Meanwhile, there is also Lobo. He is a space bounty hunter who's infamously hard to kill. Moving on. Kara escapes after fighting with the brigands and everything. They keep trying to chase him down. Kara ends up on a planet with a green sun. And unfortunately, it doesn't have any dinosaurs like in the source material, which is a travesty. So she just kind of sits in a cave for a while, and then Ruthie gets captured by the brigands, and so Ruthie hangs out in a jail cell with Lobo. They both escape and then get back to Supergirl, and so Supergirl gets better from the green radiation, and then they go after the brigands, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight. After all of this, Supergirl, now they have kryptonite guns. We see Supergirl's backstory. It's similar. It does not have the whole thing with Kara hammering these lead spikes into the ground, which I honestly really liked. And we don't have the various weird little planets they go to from the source material. But long story short, they show up. Ruthie wants to kill Krem, and Kara says, no, Ruthie, don't do it. It's going to traumatize you. And Ruthie says, okay, Kara, I won't kill him. And so then Kara kills him. And then she gets his rare loot drop of the poison cure. Because in this time, Crypto actually was sick, not like in the source material, and she goes and cures Crypto, and then Ruthie says that she's going to make weapons like her dad and her mom, and they proceed to go hang out as friends, and then Supergirl goes back to Earth. Did I miss anything?
I think you got everything. There's definitely, you brought up a lot to talk about.
Yes, I did.
No,
Sorry.
I think it's good that like there's so much to compare and contrast and to bring up and analyze.
Yes.
Do you want to go first? I know you're chomping at the bit here.
Well, I want to say something before we get into this, which is we're recording after the Hollywood Reporter article came out. And there are a lot of things that, people are arguing about Supergirl. But the big thing about the Hollywood Reporter is that the discussion, I'm going to get the name of the author, I have him right here, was Boris Kitt, who did a discussion where apparently behind the scenes there was a lot of re-edits and reshoots in this movie. And so I think that hearing what I know about this movie, hearing what they discuss in that article where they had people like completely wanting to redo sections, changing the music, changing how the stuff was edited. Regardless of how critical I am, it is in fact a miracle that this movie came out. I think a lot of people had to really fight to get this movie made in any form, especially considering what happened with Batgirl, because that movie never saw the light of day and will never see the light of day because all copies of it have been destroyed because not releasing it meant that they could get a tax write-off.
I am very angry about that.
There is a whole thing where basically a lot of people are arguing about whether or not Craig Gillespie got to have final choice over the cuts in the movie. And they aren't. There's a lot of arguments about that.
And I will say, overall, it's a fun movie. Mm-hmm. It is lacking compared to the source material, in my opinion, because the things that they added, like Lobo, why is he there? He's distracting from the plot. He doesn't add anything to the movie. Like, they could have used that time to better explore themes from the original source material. So have Supergirl go to another planet and see like what the brigands are doing. And I felt like it was lacking a lot of the Supergirl taking care of Ruthie. That was a lot of the focus of the original source material.
Okay, hot take. I kind of liked Lobo.
What did he do?
He was funny.
Okay, Kirsten, here's the thing. I agree with you on that. I think they should have integrated him more into the movie if they are going to have him, because so much of his stuff feels like that. When I heard there were reshoots, there's a scene where Lobo is literally just sitting on a motorcycle watching the scene, and you just have a couple cuts back to him while the scene is going on, and I'm like, oh, that was filmed after the fact, so they could just add Lobo to this one scene. Jason Momoa is born to play that role, and he does a very good job. I look forward to seeing him as Lobo in whatever future DC project he shows up in.
He should have been an after credits scene. I would have accepted it if it was an after credit scene. But there were no dinosaurs. There was no space dragon. Oh, yeah, I don't understand why they needed the space pirates. Why not just have the space dragon? And that would explain how she got out of the airlock and why she got powers from the yellow sun.
It does seem like Tom was saying that they just like took this random male character and like plunked it down into like this new story where it didn't seem to fit, at least for me. I understand liking Lobo as a character, Kirsten, and like he was interesting, and like I am. That is my first introduction to his character, and I would like to see more. But it just kind of like felt like it didn't really go together. It didn't mesh well.
Oh yeah, like I love his intro. I love his intro where he's like, "Are you calling me a liar? 'Cause I am." And that made me laugh. I liked that. I'm like, "Oh man, this is great. I'd love to see more of that."
Okay, but I will make the argument that like DC doesn't have like they're not known for their movies being funny. And if they're trying to compete with Marvel, then they got to have like something.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know.
I need to show you Superman.
Yeah, Superman was good and funny.
I can't stand Superman as a person.
Neither can I, typically, but this new, like, the new Superman movie was actually good. You get Crypto, like, ragdolling Lex Luthor, which is hilarious. And Clark is just, or I guess Superman is just sitting there going, oh, maybe okay.
The premise of the movie is, because in this continuity, Crypto is Kara's dog. And so she has left Crypto with Clark, and he is taking care of the dog while Kara's away. And so there's a lot of shenanigans. And also there's the Justice Gang, where
Mr. Terrific is
yeah.
fantastic.
Oh well, yeah. No, that man was born to. That's another role. Like there has been some amazing casting in this. Like in the two movies we have of the current DCEU, all of the Justice Gang, Element Man, all those guys in that movie. And I'm going to extend that out. Everybody in this movie, Jason Momoa, like I said, he was born to play Lobo. He was born to play this weird space biker guy who is like basically knows how intimidating he looks, and so he just kind of Dread Pirate Roberts it a bit to scare people. And Millie Alcock is absolutely exactly what we needed as a Supergirl.
She is great. Kirsten, did you like the snippets that we got of Superman in this one?
No, not really. He seemed annoying.
Appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
The friend that had come with me for it, they mentioned that, like, the part where Supergirl shows up and she doesn't speak the language, right? And he's like, don't worry about it. You'll get English. Is a very just, like, rude, pretentious thing to say.
Yeah. No, that line did stick out to me. I'm like, yeah, you'll pick it up. And I'm just like, wow, okay, that's how you know he landed in America.
Yeah, and where they were coming from is that they're a sign language interpreter, and apparently, like, a lot of families are just like, meh, we're not going to learn sign language. You can learn how to read lips.
Yeah, no,
That's
I get
true.
It. I definitely understand that.
So he kind of irritated me.
But I wonder if, like, they weren't, like, the movie itself wasn't sort of, like, on his side with that, because there was that, like, quick little scene with her, like, alone in, like, I think it was an apartment, just kind of looking out the window. Do you guys remember that? And it just seemed like his approach, or, like, the approach that they have taken to kind of, like, assimilate her, it didn't work. She still felt very lonely.
Which is why she spends so much time off planet.
Right. So just because he's Superman doesn't mean that, like, oh, what he says is correct. It's probably like, oh, well, this is the way I did it. And so, like, you can do it too, and, like, you'll be fine. But it's not. It didn't work out for her that way.
It would have been better if Lois was behind him at one point and just kind of, like, slapped him upside the head and went, no, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, no, that would have been infinitely better.
Yeah, and as a army brat, she would understand how hard it is to assimilate into a new culture. So I feel like she could probably have helped with Kara.
I think also fundamentally there is a thing in this movie, and it is a thing that a lot of people like, but I think it straight up is antithetical to telling this kind of story where Kara is separate from humans and separate from Earth and all that, and she chooses to try to take part in her cousin's world. At the end, it's not that Earth is hers now; it's that she is opening herself up to her living family. But if she is alienated from Earth, and she is not considering herself like her cousin Clark, why is she listening to Earth music? Like, it's licensed popular music. And yeah, I know he gives her an iPod, but like,
well, she wouldn't have any other unless she had picked up some music during her travels, but how would she play it if that was the music that she had? So,
I mean, that's just a matter of, like, you have her have some sort of sci-fi device, because, like, if she can, fly to Earth in a brainiac sphere, we can do something like that. But, like, yeah, it's just like she goes into an alien bar and hits a jukebox and it starts playing Earth music, and she's on her spaceship and it's playing Earth music. And it's just like, here's the thing. At the very end, there's a needle drop where they play the middle. A lot of people on the internet complained about it. I actually thought it was a good song for the way they were choreographing it. Imagine if that was the first time you get a human, like an Earth song. And everything else was like kind of deliberately obscure alien sounding music. And that's when you first finally get her playing Earth music when she's defending and saving Ruthie.
yeah, but that wouldn't play to the audience. So it's yeah, okay. So males are going to find.
I agree with you. That's the noise I made.
Yeah, what was that noise?
the males are going to find every excuse to condemn and pick apart a female-led anything. So you
Yeah.
got to pander to them sometimes. And even then, they're still not going to shut up, so...
So yeah, no joke. In the Hollywood Reporter article, the extra needle drops that were human songs were added. There was originally probably more non-licensed music that got cut. That was part of it, and I'm like, oh, that makes so much sense because there's a bunch of more songs in it than I thought there would be for a movie where she's not on Earth, not listening to human music.
I think I'm more upset about where they deviated theme-wise from the source material than like picking apart the little music choices and things like that. Because I did think they leaned a little bit hard into the drunk Supergirl, which I like the angry Supergirl, but she was a much more selfish Supergirl than the original material, because it seems like she was like dragging Ruthie along instead of actually like taking care of her. And part of that came from the fact that in the movie, Crypto's actually hurt and she's focused on that, which I mean, she absolutely should be if Crypto's actually hurt. But it doesn't give her room to show, like, my favorite part of the source material, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, is where we're looking at Kara and it's allowing her to be angry, but showing that even as angry and frustrated as she is, she's still kind and can take care of people. And it also shows the difference between being soft and being kind. And they didn't do that in this movie. And I think that's the biggest part that frustrated me, was because of the themes of this movie, because of how short the movie is, and because they chose to focus on other things besides the relationships in it, they didn't have the opportunity for her to develop that.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought, maybe this is just my opinion, but I also thought that Ruthie seemed kind of like a burden that she had to kind of deal with while she was like going on her quest to save her dog.
Yes. Because she was constantly trying to like go back and grab her, or Ruthie was running off.
Yeah.
They didn't make space for the conversations the two of them should have had.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that there was like tiny moments of that. Like I think that like right before Ruthie ran off at the dinosaur, the previously known as the dinosaur planet, and then also kind of like at the end. But you're right, they didn't really like build that relationship. So it kind of fell a little flat for me.
And where Supergirl in the source material was telling Ruthie about the destruction of Krypton, it didn't seem to have the same, like, I remember her having that flashback, but I don't think because Ruthie, they had put her like in the Brigands like jail with Lobo, she didn't get to have that conversation with Kara.
Yeah.
I did, however, like the fact that Ruthie was able to like save herself in a lot of times when she got captured, or she wasn't just completely helpless. Even when Lobo was complaining about like having to look after her, or like not wanting to look after her, and he looks around and she's already escaped. So I thought that was like, she's up in the air vents on her way out. So I did appreciate that.
I think a lot of people had hypothesized this. I was not one of them. I hadn't thought of this, but in looking back, a lot of people thought Lobo was going to be like the devil on Ruthie's shoulder, and Kara was going to be the angel. And I think that could have given, that would have been interesting, because I do like Ruthie when she's playing opposite Jason Momoa, because you have this big celebrity who is a big, larger-than-life personality. He's already been Aquaman, and he's having to play, and that's kind of intimidating for a younger actor. But she actually does a very good job being opposite someone who is like an established, well-known celebrity and all that. And she's already a good actor. She's been in other stuff, but like, I think she did a very good job there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let us talk about Millie Alcock, who is our Supergirl. I think that she has been the subject of a lot of talk and discourse online, unfortunately. A lot of that not really great talk and discourse. But I think that she was fantastic. I thought she was great. I think she's a great actor. And I really liked her Supergirl.
Mm-hmm. And you can see, like, with the flashbacks to Krypton, she has such a range in her acting.
Yeah.
I just felt like the writer, director did not give her enough time to fully explore it because they were focused on other things in the story.
She's been a very like solid actor for years because from as someone who hasn't watched the show, from fans I know, they have said she is literally one of the reasons House of the Dragon is good, and that she's been doing for years. And so then she comes along and does the superhero stuff, and I have several notes I took. Oh yeah, here's the note. There's a line between traumatized character and character defined by their trauma, and Millie is fighting to make Kara the former.
Yeah.
So, and I think that was the note I put in there. Also, side note, this is a little thing about her that I appreciated. It's a little thing, just fight choreography wise. In the fight where she's on the Red Sun planet, there's an alien bounty hunter who steals the sword that Ruthie has, and he gets on his space horse and is going to ride off into, the space sunset. And Kara picks a fight with him, but because she doesn't have her powers, she basically does a swing kick off of the horse's neck to hit the guy, where she grabs the neck like it's a bar and does like a gymnast flip and hits him with her legs. And like that's a really cool move, and it also makes sense that like if you don't have the normal level of punching power, that's a move you would do to try to get the momentum going so you could hit someone. So I really thought that was a cool little bit of fight choreography. It's also a part that looks like a stunt person actually did something. It wasn't like a CG model.
Yeah.
Oh, that was also in that fight. She throws sand in the guy's face, and then Ruthie copies that later in the movie.
Yes.
So it has the elements of Woman of Tomorrow that Kate, you said that you liked.
Yeah.
Where Ruthie was picking up ways to fight from Kara.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear she looks exactly like the drawings of Kara and Woman of Tomorrow. So perfect casting from the casting director.
So they're talking about kind of like what people are saying online. There are certain sections of the internet, predominantly with males, who have been discussing her looks. And I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know what they want from a Supergirl. Do they want just
They just don't want a Supergirl.
You stop being pretty if you disagree. Grifters, so you stop being pretty when a grifter needs to be angry at you. There are people who've made an entire cottage industry out of being outraged at absolutely nothing. Like, there are plenty of things to complain about the new Odyssey movie. Casting Lupita Nyong'o as one of one of the most beautiful women in the world. No, obviously that's that's a fact. What's wrong with casting her as a beautiful? Oh yeah, we're going to have a beautiful woman play Helen of Troy. Okay, that's no, they're complaining because they want to be outraged and because they don't like, frankly, they don't, in that case, they don't like a black woman playing Helen of Troy. But in this case, it's like this is they're looking for something to be outraged, and somebody says, "Oh, is Supergirl gay?" And she says, "Oh, she could be not, whatever, it's not really," basically she kind of is like, it's not really the point of the movie and all that. And grifters literally took that clip and said, "Oh man, she's saying Supergirl is gay and she's making it woke." And I'm not even kidding. Like that.
Did they
like
not see the CW show?
probably not.
They don't care about Supergirl. Like the amount of that. There's a derogatory term for LARPer, which I don't like, mostly because absolutely the most insufferable people use it. I use the term tourist, but there are people who are tourists about this stuff. Like there were folks who are mad about XYZ comic book character, and the thing they're mad about is like, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe they changed this thing about a comic book character," and it's like something that's been part of their canon for 20 years. It's just like they don't know, so they're acting like it was a change because, again, it's a grifting economy. They got to make money off of something, and they got to be outraged at something. They can't just let it be, "I don't care for this actor." Like, my dad doesn't like Alec Baldwin in a lot of things, but he's not going to make an entire career out of complaining about Alec Baldwin in movies on...
Alec Baldwin's not hot, so therefore I'm not going to go see his movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah... it's and of course she's an actress in Hollywood who is being judged and like graded based on how she looks, not based on any of like her performance and anything like that. And frankly, like, I've never seen someone say that about Ben Affleck for Argo. No one's ever
Right?
said he got that role because he's pretty.
Well, I mean, he can't act, so how else did he get it?
Oh, damn.
I mean, it's because he's a good director in Argo. I've never heard them say that about a guy. I'm just gonna say, I've never heard someone say Robert Pattinson is Batman because he's pretty.
Surprisingly, a good Batman.
Yeah, he's good.
Oh yeah, no, he's very good at playing a weird guy who's got too much money. I don't know, maybe he's doing it from experience, but
Right. I don't think he's acting there.
yeah, exactly, Kirsten. On one hand, I don't like giving guys who are trying to farm aggression and anger attention. On the other hand, I do know that we gotta push back at them some point because otherwise they'll just go unchallenged. But also, I'm a guy in the situation. I'm not a woman in a comics fandom, so I really don't think I'm the one who needs to be the arbiter of that. So it's up to you, Kate.
Actually, I was going to say you are in the prime position to push back on that, right? Because you hold
Oh, yeah, no,
power
I
in those
do.
spaces.
That's why I push back and I am grumpy. It's just like I will push back, but I'll do it like I am not a guy who has ever I've never been judged for my looks the way she has. And so I'm not going to try to like speak for that, but I will push back against frankly the fact that there are guys on the internet complaining that she's not pretty who look like if Jabba the Hutt was merged with a Funko Pop.
It's just like at this point, I don't think you guys want a good actor or like an actor to
No.
show like their range or whatever they're doing. You just want somebody that looks pretty or that looks your idealized
Yes.
version of the superhero that you have created in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think the voice actor for Bumblebee is pretty enough in Transformers.
Well, that is your perspective.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Keegan Michael Key is great.
That's who's playing Bumblebee?
In Transformers 1, I think it's either Keegan Michael Key or who is that in Transformers 1?
Let's fact check that. We do have to talk about the ending as well. So I know.
Yep, that's what I'm...
Yes.
So-
go ahead.
I think part of the ending is in the current DC cinematic universe, I don't believe they've introduced the Phantom Zone. So if they haven't already introduced it, Supergirl is probably not where they were going to. It would probably have to be introduced in a Superman movie. So they couldn't use that device in this movie.
That feels like a cop-out.
Wouldn't she be like, well, I don't want, don't kill him, whatever. Don't kill him, Ruthie. And then she'd be like, oh, I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to send him to the Phantom Zone. And Ruthie's like, what's that?
Yeah, it wouldn't fit into this movie.
I don't know. They could have also done like a end of credit scene where like he's in the Phantom Zone.
Where Kara lets him out?
Well, no. Well, that would have been epic too. But like, no. If you didn't want to like introduce it, you could just be like, here, Kara's throwing him in the Phantom Zone, and that sets you up for another movie. Like you could have you would have taken away the best part, but you could have done it. That's 100% the best part.
Yeah, he wasn't just so the fact that he actually poisoned Crypto, one, absolutely deserves death. And then the fact he is continuously abducting women in this society.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
He needed to die slower.
I have opinions. I have opinions about that because, like, wait, we have the female-led superhero movie, and we are going to add from the source material something that was not there previously, that the villains are an entire race of sex traffickers, and there's a group of, like, alien sex traffickers who talk in their alien language that has to be subtitled, and then our blonde protagonist goes to an alien planet to find out a solution, and the two black characters who were they the first black characters we get to see? Because the two black characters roofie her and try to sell her to those sex traffickers, and I'm just like, this feels so uncomfortable, and like that feels like they did not need to add this to the movie because like you could show Woman of Tomorrow to a much younger kid than what you could show the Supergirl movie to because of this addition.
I don't think that really would change the group that you would show it to.
I'm adding the little picture to the chat. This is the thing that made me laugh. I told you about.
Read it for our listeners, Tom.
This is from a Rolling Stone interview. Craig Gillespie and Ana Nogueira are being interviewed. And Craig Gillespie says, yeah, but then Ruthie kills him, right? And which is, they're talking about the source material. And it says under it, Tom King, who wrote Woman of Tomorrow, has clarified that while an aged Ruthie does strike Krem with her cane after he emerges from the Phantom Zone, he and artist Bilquis Everly didn't intend readers to think that Krem dies. So it's just like that. Also, I find that very funny with like, why kill Krem at the end? Oh yeah, because he dies in the source material.
And Tom King's like, actually.
Yeah, Tom King, actually.
Whatever, in my heart, he's dead.
Oh, he's definitely dead to me.
Yeah, he poisoned a dog in the source material. And in this one, also, he poisoned a dog and he was abducting women. He needed to die slower.
Oh, yeah, no, but I gotta ask, are we going to like, would we have felt the need to add sex traffickers as the villain in a Superman movie, or is it just for when they have the female lead?
It feels like it was just this. Like,
right? Yeah.
There was no need to do it. I don't know if they were like, hey, we already have, like, women in this, and, like, now we just gotta make it, you know, this guy's really bad, and that's why we had to have a lady do it.
What are women scared of?
Yeah. It's like, no, you could have done literally anything else, man, and you chose that. Like, no.
Or even not add anything else. He poisoned her dog.
Yeah, no, done. Murder him.
Exactly, yeah, I was gonna say he shot her dog.
There's precedence for it. John Wick has set precedence. Mm-hmm. Like, do it.
And I mean, he killed Ruthie's entire family instead of just
and I was gonna say he also shot a child in front of Ruthie.
I mean, that sucks too, but also the dog.
Oh, I was gonna say, speaking of the ending, or actually not just the Emmy ending, because this is one of my quotes I have in my notes. I might have been getting a little frustrated. It's yummy, yummy, gray flat rock field. I love when the finale is on flat quarry like an early Power Rangers episode. Jungle, beach, space, get out of here. I need someone to and then I start talking about like the motion blur, but like, yeah, the thing that is fundamentally, if I had never read the source material, I would probably just be like, yeah, it's a good movie, I enjoyed it. But the thing that makes me be critical about this is not out of malice, but it's because despite everything I normally complain about with Tom King, the comic is beautifully drawn and beautifully illustrated, and it has that color at the beginning. There's a lot more color at the beginning. It's that the finale, like, was it just me, or did the finale not have the colors I was looking for?
No, and I agree with that entire thing. On its own, this movie was fun, but comparing it to the source material, it falls flat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about the colors, I did notice that a lot of it was dark, like physically just like dark.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they made it kind of a dark story, so.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why the colors need to be brighter. So that's what they did in the comic, and that's what Marvel does a lot of time, to where they're dealing with these horrible things like think about even the Infinity Gauntlet movies. It was, you lost half the population, but there were still the bright colors. There were still the like bright effects. It wasn't a Batman, Superman, I can barely see what's going on the screen because everything is just dark and black.
That is the thing. The thing about this movie, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to sound really mean by saying this, and I apologize, but like, as someone who's seen the Snyder era, this movie almost felt like a throwback to it. It ends with killing the villain. The finale is in a you know, there's a lot of muted colors. The finale's in a gray field. Like, it felt less like the Superman movie direction and more like a Man of Steel direction.
Which I fell asleep during. And thought that Henry Cavill couldn't act because that was the first thing I recognized him in, was him as Superman. I'm like, oh, he can't act. And then I saw him in The Witcher and I'm like, oh no, he's a fantastic actor. What's going on?
Yes. I really liked the scenes between Supergirl and Superman. I thought that they really worked well off of each other, and it was sweet seeing them together, and I am excited because apparently she has a role in the next Superman movie. So I am excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see them together again.
I look forward to seeing her in it's called Man of Tomorrow, which has, I could say what my theory is at the end. I can say what my theory is.
So I'm wondering, because of how they did the story with Krypton dying, if Argo's coming back in that movie, because they made it seem like there was more of a chance that Argo, or some part of Argo, survived, because in the source material, I believe they were still being pummeled with like asteroids and everything, and their shield was failing. Versus in this version of it, they're just all dying of radiation poisoning, and her father is sick when he sends her off, but it doesn't look like he and the majority of the population are sick, but they're not dead and dying. So there's still like that little glimmer that they could come back. And we know that, so in the comics, Argo is a city that survives Krypton and shows up from time to time. So, although it was captured by Brainiac, and so I'm like, are we going to get Brainiac?
That's what I'm thinking. Did you see what the logo on her like escape pod looked like?
The Brainiac sphere is what.
Yeah, it's the Brainiac has this symbol. It's 3 dots connected by a line in like a V shape. That is what's on her escape pod when she gets to Earth. And you see it in the front of her escape pod when it opens up and she meets Superman. And the fact that you're saying, I wonder if there's a part of Argo coming by, I think there is, and I think it's from Brainiac. Mm-hmm. Because the teaser image, and I know nothing about Man of Tomorrow except for this teaser image, which is why I'm saying this. The teaser image they put out had Superman and Lex Luthor together. No, on the same side, not like together. I think he's not going to leave Lois for him.
Cowards.
But the fact that in that case, and that's also why they're calling it Man of Tomorrow, because while Man of Tomorrow is like a Superman title, it is also a thing that Lex Luthor tries to call himself many times. And so if it's something that would make Lex and Superman join forces, I would say it's probably Brainiac, because it's something that would not necessarily, like, if it's a Kryptonian thing, you have Superman fight the Kryptonian things. If it's Kryptonians, Superman fights the Kryptonians. You know, Supergirl is there; she can fight the Kryptonians too. But if it's this thing that is like alien, intelligent, and powerful, the supervillain, super intelligence, basically like what if the Borg, but in comic books, Brainiac. Yeah, I totally see Brainiac being the main villain, the big giant evil computer.
Mm-hmm.
So can you explain how Brainiac kind of plays into the Superman and or Supergirl backstories or their universes?
It depends on the adaptation.
So the one that I'm most familiar with, because it's had a lot of Legion of Superhero tie-ins, is Brainiac is a highly intelligent supercomputer who is also a collector of dying worlds, or just a collector of civilizations. And so that's how he gets Argo, is he has miniaturization technology and is able to like shrink it down and keep it on his ship. And that's kind of how Argo might come into play.
Yeah, he does that with Kandor also. He shrinks Kandor. In the original continuity, he is just something from outer space. We don't completely know where he's from, but he goes through the galaxy. Basically, what he says, he catalogs things, and once he's successfully downloaded all the data, cataloged everything, there's no reason to keep the originals, and so he'll, either collect it or destroy it or get rid of basically what he sees as a redundancy. And later adaptations have made Brainiac a computer system from Krypton. And that was a big thing in the Superman the Animated Series, where he was like, basically he was their Alexa. They would be like, Brainiac, what's the weather today? And Brainiac would be like, it's such and such. And the thing is everybody's little Alexas network together, and it becomes this intelligence that that basically sees itself as the preserver of Krypton, and tries to take over the Earth to preserve it too. And spoiler alert for My Adventures with Superman Season 2, it sees itself as the last scion of Krypton. And when the Kryptonians were like having wars and were going to destroy each other, Brainiac detonated the planet's core, basically saying, I am the only Kryptonian, the true Kryptonian, as this computer of all of their culture and all their info. I will get rid of the Kryptonians who are trying to kill each other by blowing up the planet, and I will leave with all of my data and all of my stuff that's like Kryptonian, and I will be able to preserve the planet and the culture. And he's the main villain of Season 2 of My Adventures with Superman in a really good rendition. He's like, it's very, I can't think of which. He's like a mixture of a couple different things. It's almost like Shadow Weaver from She-Ra mixed with I want to say Frieza from Dragon Ball. But yeah, that's what Brainiac is in relation to Superman, and I guarantee you, if they don't do Brainiac in Man of Tomorrow, it's because they're faking us out and making us think it's Brainiac.
All right. Does anybody have any thoughts that they have not shared that they would like to share?
Ruthie looked cooler in the comic book.
They took away her cool hat.
Yeah.
Her cool hat and her cool hair. She had this cool, like, androgynous look going on, and they were like, nope, gotta make her a girl.
Yeah. Oh, and what's with, like, killing her whole family versus just her dad? Why did they choose that?
Well, because they wanted to make Krem already a brigand. I guarantee you that was the case. Because, like, that's also that because they make her family weapons designers and weapons builders, she's now, the sword is hers, and it's not Krem's sword that she's holding on to like it's her grudge. Because in the source material, she's holding on to Krem's sword because she wants revenge, and she wants to kill him with it, with his own sword. In this case, it's a special sword her father made. And I'm going to be honest, Ruthie not being a farmer but instead becoming a writer in the source material is really hopeful, but Ruthie seeing her parents get killed for weapons and then saying, you know, I really want to become a weapons manufacturer again. I want to make more swords. I'm just like, that feels weird. Yeah. I don't know why. When you have someone who goes in and inherits a family legacy in fiction, it's because they are like rising to be who their parents were. They're rising to fulfill that position. Or sometimes they're like, I will now be like my parents but better. Like, you know, that's Star Wars. That's Luke trying to become the new face of the Jedi and like all of that. And Ruthie being like, I'm going to make swords again. I'm going to do the thing that got my family killed without commenting on it. Like, it just feels very weird to me, as opposed to Ruthie saying, I don't want to be a farmer anymore. I don't want to be living that life. I cannot go back to that. But I am going to, like, tell my story. And so she's a writer and she writes a book. And I think that was, like, way more interesting. And, like, so much of what Kirsten just said, like, all the really interesting stuff with Ruthie, that actress probably would do a great job with that material. And I'd love to see her, like, I don't know how you would do it, but I would love to see her have another stab at Ruthie to get to do the stuff from the source material. But yeah, no, you were very right. A lot of Ruthie's, like, especially things that made Ruthie special are sanded off.
Yeah, I felt that making her a writer at the end gave her a voice, and just making her a weapons manufacturer like her father or like her family was just such a, like, well, we don't know what to do with her, so just stick her in her, like, family line. All right. Any other thoughts before I wrap us up?
Where it really fell apart was the lack of dinosaurs.
I mean, you're not wrong. Like, that's part, like, no, seriously, the dinosaurs, Ruthie has to fight the dinosaurs to protect Kara. It is such a pivotal thing in, like, Kara taking care of Ruthie in so much of the story, and then now Ruthie has to take care of Kara. And I totally get, like, if you're going to get rid of all of the Kara taking care of Ruthie part of the story, which I don't know why you would, but if you did, if you got rid of all of that from the source material, then yeah, there's not as much resonance when Ruthie has to save Kara from a dinosaur. But you know what? We'd still have dinosaurs.
Plus, it would just be cool to see dinosaurs.
Yes, exactly.
But I am still excited for the next Superman movie, especially if Kara's in it as well. I hope they don't cut her role based on the response to this movie.
That is the thing that worries me, because part of the thing with the Hollywood Reporter report is that there was so many, like, showings, screenings, and then recuts. Then they screen it again, have people grade it, and then they do another recut. So, like, I do worry about that. I'd love more of her. I'd love Lobo to finally get some, you know, material to do his thing. More material, because, you know, I would love a Lobo movie. I don't think we're going to ever get one, but I would love a Lobo movie.
Oh, see, I assumed that was why they introduced him. And why I'm like, just put him as an after credits scene if you're trying to set up his movie.
Okay, hear me out. Not that I think they should do this, or it should be included. But should I write some fan fiction, I would ship them.
Lobo and who?
And Kara.
Oh.
Oh yeah, I know a lot of people who do
They
that.
got the enemies to lovers thing. 100%.
Yeah, no, that is. I've read several things where people were like, "Yeah, I'm working on Loba Cara fix."
100%. I would read it. I would write it. I don't want them to do that. But
it's a fun thing to entertain as a piece of fan work.
yeah, I would go on AO3 and 100% read that.
Maybe you should write that, Kirsten.
Oh no, I'm not good at writing. But
100th episode. We don't know what our 100th episode's going to be. Maybe it can be a fan fiction reading.
Oh my gosh.
Ew, I don't know if we want to do that.
No, that would be behind the paywall.
Yeah, that would be like right up there with like a hentai episode. That would be rough on all parties involved.
Oh, okay, so I need to change what our next episode is going to be.
Support us on Patreon and you get Kirsten's monster AoE fix.
Kirsten, like, if you like monsters, like, Lobo is peak weird monster. Like, he can regenerate from a finger.
Yeah, no, he's a weird guy.
He's a weird alien guy. Like, he is exactly like... I am actively looking for Lobo comics for you. Like, before we even started recording, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, Kirsten would love some Lobo comics.
He kind of gives me Andy vibes from Undead Unluck. Like, just the
Yeah.
weird...
Yes.
I've been
Yes,
around
he
so
has
long,
heavy
I give no
Andy.
fucks anymore.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Yeah. No, I'm like, oh, yeah, you unlocked it for me. He has super big Andy energy.
Okay, I'm going to wrap us up. Thank you for joining us on Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow comic fans. Also, please consider supporting us via Patreon at patreon.com/bitemefanboy, where you can listen to episodes before they go live and unlock special bonus content. We also have an email address where you can send us questions, comments, or recommendations at bitemefanboypod@gmail.com. We will see you next time.